Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be doing a way too early roster prediction for what the Vancouver Canucks are going to look like next year. I'm undecided if this is going to be a series or not, but I thought I would start with the team that is closest to me and that I know probably the most about. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to start off with the forwards. On my top line, on left wing, I have Elias Pettersson. At center, I have Filipino. And at right wing, I have Brock Besser. I'm keeping in mind that everyone is healthy in this. So, the reason why I have this as my top line is because I feel as if, these are the guys that, are the most talented. And the reason why I have Pettersson on the wing and not on center is because, in my opinion, he doesn't have the drivability to drive his own line and to lead his own line. I see it kind of as like a Mitch Marner situation where he, for years, was never really known for a line. It wasn't like the Mitch Marner line. It was either the William Nylander line or the Matthews line. So, yeah, that's why I don't have Elias Pettersson at center. And Brock Besser, he's just a first liner kind of guy. He's got the scoring, he's got the playmaking, he's got everything. And I have Filipino as the center because I feel as if he has the most potential out of everyone else on the roster to be a center. So yeah, or to be at least the top line center. My next line, I have Jake DeBrusk on the left wing, Teddy Blueger as center, and then Connor Garland as the right wing. This line is a good line. It's a solid line. You have Garland, who can be the net front presence. And then you have Teddy Blueger, who knows how to create some stuff. And then you have Jake DeBrusk, who is pretty, he doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion, for how good he is. And I'm pretty sure last year they tried this line out, and it worked pretty alright. Next line, I have, it's kind of a Swedish line. I have Nils Höglander as left wing. I have Linus Karlsson as the center. And then I have Kiefer Sherwood as the right wing. One thing you'll notice is that throughout all my lines, I have at least one grit player on each line, except for the top line. I mean, Besser is kind of like a grit player, but anyway. I feel as if with the creativity of Höglander, being able to pair him with Kiefer Sherwood, who knows how to hold it. I see him more of like a defensive forward, not like the overarching power forward. And so, yeah, Kiefer Sherwood's not afraid to throw hits. He broke the hit record last year by a lot of hits. I think it was 70 or something like that. And he broke the hit record with, I think, 10 or something games left in the season. So having a grit player with two more talented players, I think is a good thing, just so they can kind of protect them a little bit. And that kind of goes with Karlsson as well. He's just the playmaker and just the offensive end. He's not really the grit player. Lastly, we have for fourth line, Drew O'Connor on left wing, Niels Amon as center, and then on the right wing we have Evander Kane. I've seen people have Evander Kane on the first line or on the second line. I can definitely see a world where they try him up there just to protect Pettersson. But I think he's more of like, with his age, with where he is in his career, I see him more as a fourth line person. And you can let me know how you feel about that down in the comments. And Niels Amon I have in as opposed to like add to rad to. I feel like that they're pretty interchangeable. Niels Amon I think has more NHL experience. And so they're interchangeable, so I don't think it's like the end of the world. So if like they go on like a little bit of a losing skid, they just change those guys out to get a little bit like different faces into the lineup. And then Drew O'Connor, I was struggling to see where he would go. He could go on the second line with Teddy Bluger and Connor Garland, and have Jake DeBrusk on the third with Niels Höglander then being demoted to the fourth line. But there's just a lot of guys in the Vancouver system, and so it's a little bit difficult to find places for everyone. Then that brings me to my extras for the forwards. I'm running with 2 extras for the forwards, that being Jonathan Lekkerimäki and, as I mentioned before, add to rad to. They're both young, so just being like around the NHL club and getting into a few games and developing with the team, I think would be beneficial towards their development, and they can be sent up and down to the AHL as needed, because one of the beauties about having the AHL team like an hour away from your home rink is that you can send guys up and down. Like if you're in Vancouver for a little bit and the Abbotsford team's in Vancouver for a little bit, you can send those guys down to the AHL and get a few games over a weekend, then bring them back up. So yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world for who's an extra because the team is so close. That brings me to the defense. Obviously on left, for our top pair D, we're gonna have Quinn Hughes, because if you don't have him there, you're crazy, in my opinion. I have Quinn Hughes on the left side, and then with him I have Filip Hronek. I was debating with myself, with my brother, with my dad, with my uncle about where or if we should have Quinn Hughes and Filip Hronek together. If we should spread out that talent, should we so I ultimately decided to have them together just because sometimes you need your top pair just to do top pair stuff and drive the offense and drive getting that puck out of their zone. And so, yeah, that's why I have Quinn Hughes and Filip Hronek as the top pair. And then on my second pair, I have Elias Pettersson, DPD, the defenseman, and Tyler Myers. I think that getting DPD some more minutes and more ice is probably the best thing. And by giving him a second pairing like job. He was in the NHL last year, so he knows what it takes, and giving him a little bit more responsibility and seeing how he does with that responsibility, I think would be a good thing for him, just so we can see where he's at. And I'm not saying that this is going to be the lineup, like, this wouldn't be my lineup for, like, the whole year. Like, there's going to be no, I'm not going to say that. There's not going to be any injuries this year. There's going to be some times in the year when you're struggling a little bit, and so you're going to need to change it up. So, yeah, that's why I have Elias Pettersson up on that second pair. Then I have Derek Forbort and Marcus Pettersson. I almost forgot about Marcus Pettersson. I originally had Mancini in place for Marcus Pettersson, but I think that with all the defensemen that we have, we've got too many defensemen. I have a feeling a trade's gonna come involving a defenseman for maybe a forward, but then at the same time you have too many forwards. So I think that the only way that the Canucks would be able to get anyone off the roster is by getting picks, but at the same time you can't, like, they're kind of in, like, let's fix it now and so we can be competitive now. So yeah, and then my extra I got 2 extras here. I know a team typically carries 3 extras, but my 2 extras are Pierre-Olivier Joseph, who we signed in free agency. He's been an up and down type of player. He's been AHL, he's been NHL, he's been everywhere. And so that and Victor Mancini. I've seen a lot of people talk about how they want Tom Willander in the NHL. I feel as if he's just coming out of college. He kind of needs to get adjusted to the pro game. So having him in the AHL, getting consistent games, getting consistent minutes would probably be the best for his development. And if there's at a point in the year where the Vancouver Canucks see what he's doing in the AHL, bringing him up would not be a bad idea. Just, I think he needs games. He needs ice time. He's not like an older player where he can just sit out for a little bit and it will be fine. So, yeah, I see Tom Willander in the AHL starting next season, and that could change. And then I think the least controversial part of this whole video, the goaltenders. Starter, obviously, Thatcher Demko. He's been injured for a little bit, or he was injured for majority of last season. But he's had he's gonna have a full off season of rehab, a full off season of getting strong, getting quicker, and every single buzzword that you can think of for hockey. And so, yeah, I think he's gonna be great. He's gonna come back with a fire to prove all of the doubters and haters wrong. So, Thatcher Demko is your starter. Then for backup, I have Kevin Lankinen, who was very, very good last year for a guy who's been a backup his whole career. I see the game split being 60-40, though. I think they're gonna let Demko rest a lot and just preserve him. And I mean, with 2 good goaltenders, you can do that. You should take advantage of that. You shouldn't just ride one guy for multiple games on end. Their last year I know that for the Montreal Canadiens, because they're my second team, or Vancouver and Montreal kind of like my two teams, but I know that for them, they were riding Samuel Montembeault like for like months. They didn't like they had Jakob Dobish, who in his first game shut out the Florida Panthers 4-0, which for my little heart that was so fun to watch. But yeah, I think that you can't just ride one goalie. Like you think like, oh, hot hand, like the goalie's hot. I don't think you should do that because then they burn out and then they don't play as well. So just my little goalie philosophy. Yeah, so that is my lines. Those are my pairs and my goalie situation. If you think I am correct, well then thank you. If you think that I am totally wrong and I need to go get my brain checked, well then let me know down in the comments. And yeah, like the video, subscribe. Also, as I mentioned, comment. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.